This podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint.
They're pulling them out.
10-1-1. Advise ready for entry camp.
God!
Welcome to another episode of War Stories. Soon to be The Warlocker, as you can see under my name. I'm Chuck.
Oh, that's my turn. That's Hey, I'm Fuzzy. You guys are not used to me here. Oh, the camera's over here. It's a whole different feel. So I feel so serious. I feel like I should, excuse me. Let me get a little more serious. You know,
right. This is a serious form.
Yes, this is a serious one. So
serious form interview.
How you guys? Excuse me. So let me start again. How you guys doing? Good evening. How do you do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Thomas is not here. He has some prior commitments. I think he's doing another play for the holidays.
I'm sorry. Not the locker room. Not the locker room. Sorry, not the locker room.
It's not the live, actually, because I guess the locker room is not a thing anymore. I guess it's just live. The
live and not live.
Yeah, it's live, not live. Discuss. Well, you guys will be notified. It'll start changing. You'll see. Just wait. If it hasn't already. If it has already, it's not War Stories. It's the Warlocker. And then there is another show called the Warlocker Live. This is a part 2. If you see the tag, Clay Novak, part 2. Just to give you a quick bio synopsis of who Clay Novak is. If you forgot, Clay Novak is a retired U.S. Army Infantry Lieutenant Colonel with 25 years of service and a combined 5 combat tours between Afghanistan and Iraq. So if you guys remember his book, this one right here, Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, that was the old cover. You need to read this book. It's fucking amazing. Clay, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for the invite back. I appreciate it. Had a blast the first time, and obviously life progresses, and happy to come back for part 2.
Awesome, yeah. And you get to meet Marco, a.k.a. Fuzzy.
So,
while Fuzzy was not on last time, it was nice to meet you, man.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And I got to say, while you're here, sir, my pronouns are please don't shoot, and sir, yes, sir.
Not thank you, sir. May I have another? That's not you.
No. That's again. That's on the live. That's
okay.
That's the other name. That's Again,
Very nice.
talking about. Remember, we're talking about Bangkok Betty earlier today. You know. Yeah.
So basically, we had you on last time. We spoke about a bunch of different things. You are the technical advisor. If people don't remember, he is the technical advisor to Reacher Season 3. He wrote a book last time, but he had 3 already done, and they have now released. The first one is Keep Moving, Keep Shooting. The second one is Across to Bear. The third one is it Rebellis? Rebellis. Okay, Rebellis.
Are they in series?
They are.
They are in series. Okay.
Yep. So, like Chuck was saying, so Keep Moving, Keep Shooting came out actually 3 years ago under a previous publisher, and he's got the first edition copy. That was the cover that you saw. I've since switched publishers. This is the new version, second edition, second printing. There you go. Right.
What a dick.
So this is the new version. Keep Moving, Keep Shooting. That's book 1 of the Terry Davis series. Terry Davis is the main character and the hero. Cross the Bear, part 2. And then Rebellis is part 3. Those have all come out within, let's see, Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, second edition came out in July. And then, Cross the Bear came out in September, and Rebellis came out on Veterans Day.
So, question for you about can you take us through your writing process? Like, did you have kind of like a story kind of like laid out, or it's just kind of free flowing?
I'm what they call a pantser. So I didn't know there was a technical term until I started doing these podcasts as a guest, and I did an interview with a lady who interviews authors all the time. And so she was asking me the same question. And I said, well, I don't really have a process. I think, I write, I think, and I write. And she said, so you don't have an arc, you don't have a character development, you don't have an end state or goal. And I said, no, I just kind of write what comes into my head. And she said, oh, you're a pantser. And I said, I don't know what the hell that is. She said, you write by the seat of your pants. You're a pantser. And I was like, okay. All right, I guess that's what I am. So that is my process. I don't have an arc. I don't have, and these are a series of books that are in one large arc. So like, even I don't know where it's going. Like as I'm writing, I don't even know where this story is going to lead. So it's a venture for me too.
That's so great. Good. It's so good. The book is so good. I've only started reading the first book. Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, a novel by Clay Novak. So I only started reading the first one, and it is so good. I can't wait for the second and third one. You're definitely going to get picked up for more, or you're going to get picked up for some type of series or a movie. I hope it's a series. And I know we were kind of talking about this before, but I know in the last episode, you're like, hey, these are really similar to like Reacher and those types of novels and series and things like that. And it's very similar. Honestly, it's very similar to, okay, I was reading it when I first started reading the book, Lioness, I think season 2, where they go down to El Paso and they're dealing with like, in Texas and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, is it going to be like that? It's not, but not yet, at least. And I was like, holy crap, it is very enthralling. It's very thrilling. And it really puts you in the seat of the main characters, and it like you're there. And I haven't had a book do that for me. And granted, I don't read as much as I probably should. And I try to, but I don't. And I like books that capture my attention, because that's the only way I'm going to pay attention. And the last book to really do that for me was American Sniper, right? The Chris Kyle book. And your book has, and I've tried to read some other people's books that they've given us. I'm like, that looks cool, and everything. And I started reading it. I'm like, it's going to take me a long time to read it. The moment I started reading yours, I was immediately hooked. I was like, oh, what's next? What's on the next page? What's coming next? I'm able to keep track. My mind isn't wandering. I'm able to stay engaged the whole time, and that is difficult for me. So however you did that, I don't know if it's all the small details, like you start telling something and then it's a small detail and you explain the situation or what they're carrying, or just a description of a house, or the lady in there, her ass cheeks with the saddle marks on it. Like, I don't know if it was that, but I was like, dang, this bitch is hot. And I don't even see, there's no pictures. There's no pictures. And the whole time, though, I am imagining you as the guy. So I'm like,
I was like, wait, because you
not with the ass cheeks, Fuzzy. Come on, man.
He went ass cheeks and saddle marks right into I'm picturing you. I'm like, there's no transition.
So there's two characters.
Right.
There's two main characters, a male and a female. The female is an intelligence analyst or an intelligence specialist like CIA. And the male in there is 25-year, I want to say 25-year Army veteran, I believe. The same rank as you.
When I started writing this, and I don't know if we talked about this last time or not, but when I started writing this was my kind of my transition as I retired out of the Army. So it was really kind of a form of therapy to an extent, and I was trying to keep my brain engaged and do some creative stuff. And so I never had an intent to publish. I was writing purely for my own entertainment. And so you write what you know. And it was very easy to, frame the main character, Terry Davis, around me. So when people ask me, is it you? And I tell them there's about 85%. There is. Okay. There's probably an 85% carryover between me and Terry Davis. In my head, Chuck, it's kind of funny. So obviously we're, the kind of guys that we are and the kind of movies and stuff that we watch. James Badge-Dale, who played Tyrone Woods in 13 Hours, right? So you've seen 13 Hours.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Yeah. So that's in my head. When I think of Terry Davis, it's James Badge. It's
Okay.
It's the guy who played Tyrone Woods. That's what I see now.
Right.
Personality wise, background, bits and pieces, all that stuff. About 85% of it is me. Now, Peggy, the main female character, is a conglomeration of about 3 women that I worked with or worked around throughout my career. Bits and pieces of them, either personality or specialty or something like that. So I pulled them. I pulled pieces of them to build Peggy.
You know what I really like about Peggy and that character? How type A you made her, but how feminine you made her. Where when the shit hits the fan, she knows that I want to say it's Davis, right?
Yeah.
When he's like, "Hey, I've put up with your shit. It's my turn to run the show. I'm running the fucking show.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing. Go do this. Go do that." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" And you see like the dynamic shift, and I'm like, I really appreciated that because she's so tough. She's been doing this shit her whole life. She's all of this, but at the core, she's a woman that wants to be taken care of and protected. And you really did a very good job of showing that. And I was like, holy fuck, that was really good. And then just their dynamic is funny. Like they banter back and forth, just like any like couple would. Yeah. However, they're not married. They're just together because, they're better to be together than apart, and they really give a fuck about each other. And it's just, I don't know, it's such a really well-written dynamic, and I was really pleased with it. And there was points in the when I was reading this that I started getting chills, and I was like, holy shit, what's coming next? And I was like, I can't wait. So I can't wait to start reading the rest of this book tonight and finish it. I can't wait to read the next ones. I mean, this dude, wow.
Yeah,
it is.
You and I talked about it before we started, and Fuzzy, I've told this story a couple of times, but I had, there's 3 or 4 things that people always tell me when they get done with the book. And one is, I never saw the ending coming, which I'm not spoiling anything for you, Chuck, or for any of the other readers, but never saw the ending coming, which I love as as an author. 2, when are you writing the next one, which is now already out, and as is book 3. When are they going to make it a movie or a series, right? That's the other one, because people always say they can really see what's going on in the book. Like they can visualize it in their mind. I don't know. I guess it's my writing style. I don't know what it is, but they can really, really see what's going on. And then, the other one is it's a super quick read. And I had a guy tell me that he read the entire thing, Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, in an LA to New York flight, in a nonstop. Oh, wow. I actually did just have another reader tell me that she read Rebellis in a cross-country flight, one shot. And I've had, and so I get that a lot. All 3 of the books, I get the same, hey, the pacing is great. Read it in 2 sittings, read it in 1 sitting, read it in 3 sittings, read it over a weekend. So,
right. And it's not a chintzy book like at all. I mean, it's 200 plus page. I mean, it's
270-ish. They're all between like 270 and 300 about, give or take a little bit.
It's a thick book. Like it's not thin. It's not overly thick. It's not like a Harry Potter novel where like the Bible. It's solid. It's substantial. And the pacing, you're right. The pacing is right on par. It's really good, and I'm able to just hammer away to. Yeah, I'm a quarter of the way done, and I was just reading for a little bit, and I read slow as shit. So I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it, I should say, and I can't wait to finish it. And now that the other 2 are out, that is going to be even better because I'm just going to hop right into those 2.
Yeah. And I'm writing number 4.
Hey, Clay, I have a question for you. In the beginning, you mentioned that obviously you're doing this for therapy purposes, and I'm sure you've been asked this before. It created a great outlet, a great transition for you to transition from one world to the other one. Now, going beyond that, tell me about like the opportunity of actually publishing the book. Like, how did that come up? Because obviously, like you said, you're writing it for yourself. You didn't have the intention of releasing, of putting this out there in the general world. So if you don't mind, obviously, I'm sure we have some listeners that have thought about it or thought about putting their experiences down on paper. So if you don't mind, just a couple of moments of just like how did that decision and the opportunity come about to then move forward with that aspect of the book, if you will.
Yeah, that's a story in itself, because I wrote it, and my buddy who he was the showrunner producer for Reacher season 3 and how I got on that gig. So I have my best friend in the world is named Mick Betancourt. He's a TV guy, writer, director, producer, showrunner kind of dude, right? And him and I grew up together. We're brothers. He works in that world. So I sent him the book, right? And I sent my dad the book, and my dad is a voracious reader. He eats books. So I sent it to the two of them. My dad, being an awesome, and I give him shit about this all the time, but awesome blue collar Midwest, kind of guy. He read it and he goes, two things. One, or he said three things. Great book. Two, you need an editor. And again, I gave it to him completely unedited.
Just very raw. Very raw.
You need an editor, and don't quit your day job. Those are the three things he told me.
Dude,
wrong.
Solid dad.
I love it.
Solid dad.
Absolutely.
That's my dad right there.
Right. So my buddy read it, and then he's like, oh, it's really, really good. And so I was happy with that. And I was already writing the second book. And I was just still writing. And so for a year it sat, and I was still writing. And I was really about done with this. Actually, I was done with the second book, and I was into the third book when my buddy came back to me, and he was like, hey, listen, asshole, nobody writes a 300-page book and doesn't do anything with it. And he goes, you got to do something with this.
Right. Okay. All right.
So I looked into publishing, and I looked at like the bigger publishing houses, Random House and Simon & Schuster and all that.
Right.
I'm not Stephen King, and I'm not James Patterson, right? So it's hard to get in with those folks. It is what it is. I didn't have the time or the inclination to self-publish. So there's a lot of smaller publishing houses out there that do what they call hybrid publishing. So most of them will say, hey, we want a whole document. So I had a whole book. So I submitted it.
Sure.
And they came back to me in 24 hours.
Was it edited? By this time, had you had an editor go through it?
Nope.
It was the raw. We'll call it the raw.
Totally
raw form. Okay.
Yep. So I sent it to them, 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. They came back and they're like, absolutely, we want to, help you publish this. So you pay them a sum of money, and they do the hard work. They do the editing, they do the cover design, the layout, ISBNs, they get it into a print house and distribution and all that stuff. Right. So I got in with my first publisher that way. Now, as much as my old man gave me a hard time, there's two types of editing. There's content editing, and then there's like copy line editing, which is like your spell check,
grammar, and
pronunciation, that kind of shit, right?
Sure.
Mine was actually clean enough where they gave the content editor my book and said, just clean up the grammar, because it was very, very clean. Which is actually one of the things I'm most proud of, is that one, my mom made me take typing in high school, which was the best thing she ever could have done for me. Because I can 10-finger type, no look, all that stuff, which makes writing very easy.
Bro, I got 4. You know what I'm saying? I'm T-Rexing it.
So they did that, and it was about an 8 to 10 month process to get it into print, and we're really December 20th of 2022. It went on sale, so we're almost right at exactly the 3-year mark. And so I did that, and really that publisher, he didn't violate anything in the contract. He just was, like marketing, sales, all that stuff was on me, truthfully. And while he did get a royalty cut out of every copy sold, he made a lot more money off of the process of editing, printing, and all that other stuff than he did anything else. So as far as, him, being very worried about selling 1 million copies, he wasn't terribly worried. And so so I was doing it. This was all a side gig, man. I mean, I was working at the time. I was, doing all those things. But I really wanted to get all the books out. And the initial response to Keep Moving, Keep Shooting was so good that, and a lot of people were like, there's got to be more. There has to be more. And so I had the other 2 books by that time. Book 2 and book 3 were both done. My publisher was not interested unless I paid him more money and putting 2 more books in the series on the market. So I kind of, I did everything I could for as long as I could. And then eventually I parted ways with that publisher.
Sounds like a smart move.
Yeah. And I found a new publisher. My new publisher is a lady named Susan Sember, Silverlight Press, who's fantastic. And she grabbed onto these and we turned so quick. Like we went from second edition of Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, like I said, in rapid succession. Like we put out 3 books in less than 6 months, printed, new covers, the whole 9 yards. So I would tell you, Fuzzy, that there's a lot of ways to get things published. You most importantly is you've got to find a publisher. If you're not going to do it yourself, and I'm not telling people not to, there's a ton of people that self-publish. But if you're not going to do it yourself, you need to find a publisher that matches your focus, intent, and intensity. And my new publisher, Susan, is amazing. Like her and I are on the same sheet. She is convinced, very much like Chuck is, that these are going to end up on the screen someday.
Dude, they're so good.
So she knows she's got a very good vision on where all this stuff is going, and it matches mine, which is most important.
So how long was the first writing process? When you got out, you decided to start the book. How long did it take you to knock out the first book?
I started writing the first one when I retired from the Army. I did what most guys don't do. So I'm a retired, lieutenant colonel from the Army with 25-ish years, and a lot of guys, and no fault, I'm not picking on anybody, but a lot of guys stay underneath the very large DoD umbrella, whether they work for the Department of the Army as a civilian, Department of Defense as a civilian, they go into defense contracting, those kinds of things. A lot of guys stay under the umbrella. I chose not to. I wanted to go do something different. And so I went into the business world. So when I first got there, I was kind of figuring out what work was supposed to be. I didn't know shit about business. I was learning as I went, but I was using my kind of spare time in the day, my lunch hour, and, opportunistically writing bits and pieces. And it was never supposed to be a novel. I was just writing, and all of a sudden this story was kind of forming. And so
I don't know if
I got about halfway through the book, and then I had to set it aside because work got crazy. And then I picked it up a few months later and then finished it. So I think the first book, all in all, was a little over a year, right at a year.
That's cooking
fast.
The second book was less than 4 months, and the third book was 53 days.
So you just shitted that story out, basically. It's like I got to go.
You already had it. You're on the roll.
You had it.
It was. I was on a roll. Yeah,
that's great.
So was that the point that you left the career that you were doing, and you're just like, I'm focusing on this?
So yeah, well, a couple of things happened. Life is what it is. So I was working in business. A lot of leadership changes in the organization I was working at, and I didn't like the direction the place was going, so I left. And then I went to go, as a favor to a friend, I went to go work for another company, in a veteran-owned small business. And I went there to be their operations officer. And after about 6 months, there was way too much drama. And I'm not going to badmouth anybody or anything that was going on, but
no need.
It was not a healthy environment. So I left there. And then I was a substitute teacher for a year and a half. I worked at a K through 12 charter school. I loved it. Wow. I had a blast. All right. Kids, other than like K through 5 are fun to be around.
Sure.
10 through 12 are fun to be around. 6th grade through 9th grade are the biggest bunch of asses. Like those kids are a pain in the ass. But anyway, I taught for about a year and a half, and then that was the point, and like I said, life happens. I got a divorce, and life
Welcome
changed.
To the club.
Yeah. Well, life changed. A lot of good things happened.
Right.
The divorce was amicable. My kids are all, they're older. My son's in college. My daughter lives in Korea. She teaches English over there. She's in her 20s. But lot of good things changed in life, and now I'm focused pretty much solely on the books. I do some charity work. I work on a veterans foundation. I dipped my toe into the 2A community a little bit. I did some, I wouldn't call it influencer work, but I worked with some pro staffs. I did some product review stuff for a while. But really now, like, life is
G-Code, right?
I worked for G-Code. Yeah, I did for about 6 months. Great gear, great organization. We had a difference of opinion on what my role was supposed to be, and it just was a business decision that we both said probably not going to work, and so we parted companies. No hard feelings, just is what it is.
You're a distinguished gentleman that has boundaries and knows when things are for you and against you, and you decided to cut ties. Can I ask what you got into when you got out? I'm not the amicable split from the other company, but what you originally did in the business world when you got out, because you said you wanted to go something.
Yeah,
totally
so
different.
I went to one of those, like, hey, you're getting out, go to a job fair kind of things in Philadelphia. And I had a company call me the following Monday. So I ran a $10 million branch for a pest control company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they called me that following Monday. I did a couple of interviews. They hired me. I actually took over like a $7 million branch. And then within, I think, 8 months, they moved me up and I took over the Philadelphia branch, which was about $10 million.
Oh,
Let me ask you this, man. For guys getting out of the military or getting out of whatever career they did, or that might be paramilitary organization, and going into the business world and business community, what are your best advices for them to make them successful and to are more marketable, I guess?
Yeah, I think the first thing you've got to understand is that we, as service members, and I would assume probably cops, paramilitary guys are the same way. No matter what people tell you when you say, like, I have a bunch of officer evaluation reports that say he was responsible for, $800 million worth of blah, 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 blah. And I managed a budget worth of, these hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't know jack shit about financials. Nothing. Like P&L, profit and loss statements, like revenue, profit versus revenue, all of those things, sales. If you're going to go into the business world, don't assume that you know anything about that, about the financial side of business, because unless you were a business major or you went and got an MBA, you probably don't know anything. And I didn't. I knew absolutely nothing about business.
Let me tell you what, even getting an MBA, I have a class and a half left in my MBA. I know nothing.
Yeah.
My wife, who does financials, knows more about business and finance that I will ever know.
Yeah.
Like, that does not teach you jack shit about anything. I think it's strictly on the job training or being in that field for years and having that experience. But okay, that's awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, that was, they hire you if you're coming out of the military. My personal theory is they hire you for your honesty, integrity, and your work ethic. Your leadership experience is probably just below that, depending on what you did.
Right.
But what you have the responsibility to do is fill the gap, and the gap probably is that stuff. The leadership, all of the work ethic, all of that will come very naturally to anybody who's getting out of the military. But you don't assume you know anything about money, because you don't. None of us do. But it's your responsibility. Like you said, it's OJT. I was the same way. Like okay, well, what happens when a company doesn't pay you for the service that you provided? Like, how do you even manage that? And those are the things that I had to learn. And I really had no clue. And it was a fairly significant uphill climb, because I was starting from zero.
But you obviously succeeded and did very well at it. And now you are a mastermind when it comes to books and writing books. Holy shit. That is crazy. I mean, dude, this book is so good. I don't want to do this podcast right now. I just want to go finish reading the book. To be quite honest,
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything more about this book, how good it is. Please go get it.
I'm on Amazon right now.
Keep moving, keep shooting. You have
Cross
to Bear,
and
then Rebellis.
Yep.
It is so good, and I will put this up. I will put his Clay Novak author.com up here at the end. But if you guys are listening and you want to buy this book, please go out and buy it. Stop listening. Just go buy it. Go listen to that. And then come back and finish it and be like, holy shit, no, you're right. It is so good. It is so... Look, I have attention deficit, right? Like, it's really hard to keep on track. Like, I'll start talking about one thing and then I'll go to something else. This book is allowing me to stay focused the whole time. I even thought about popping prescription Adderall just to maintain. I have a prescription for Adderall. So to finish the book, and I was like, I didn't need it. And for me, that's not normal. Like for me to be really involved into a book, I really have to take acetylcholine or something, because I don't like taking those stimulants. It's really bad for you. I have to take acetylcholine or something else that allows me to focus and utilize that focus to, go on. I didn't need any of that. It is a very good book. I can only imagine what the next two books are. And I know that in the last episode, we talked about, a lot of your experiences. The last story that we talked about when you were on, you were, taking over airborne and stuff like that, or at least looking over the airborne, and you were running a drill or a training exercise or a battalion effects, and a big ass mortar round.
So 155 howitzer round.
A howitzer round went through a Humvee, and it was white phosphorus. And the only reason why the person in that Humvee didn't die, obviously, if you listen to the episode, you're like, I already know this shit. But for those who didn't listen, he got out, stepped out of the vehicle, and that son of a bitch went through the vehicle and decimated everything inside. And that gentleman lived, and that is crazy.
Wait, he got it after it hit, or like right
no,
before
so
it hit? Like he got out.
It was just the short version of this story is that I was stationed in California at the National Training Center, which is like the biggest laser tag field you've ever seen in your life, and it's like helicopters and tanks and all that stuff. But we also we do live fire exercises with real bullets out there, and so those of us that were stationed out there were there to help train the units that come out to this big facility, right? So we evaluate them. We're an outside set of eyes. We help them evaluate themselves and get better and all this other stuff. Well, we were doing a live fire exercise one night, and one of my evaluators that worked for me, he stopped his Humvee. He got out to talk to his counterpart or somebody else who was, doing whatever they were doing during this live fire. And after he got out of the vehicle, this 155 millimeter white phosphorus round went right through the center of his Humvee. Like, if you think about your car, your personal vehicle, whatever it is you drive, this round went between the driver and passenger seat and straight through the engine from the back, right? Wow. Blew the engine right out of the vehicle, splashed white phosphorus all over the place. So he had stepped out of the vehicle moments before. Yeah, it's like the craziest near miss ever.
Dude, that story was absolutely wild. I'm like, holy shit. When I re-listened to it, I was like, I'm so glad that guy's alive. Holy fuck. That shit went, I was like, dude, it went through it, because we've done so many podcasts since then.
Like, how common are these? Like, obviously it's an accident, saying like, but how common is it during training? Like, right? Like, does that happen often? Like, not obviously the phosphorus round going through a Humvee, but accidents in general.
Yeah, I mean, listen, military shit's dangerous. And
accidents happen all the time.
Accidents do happen, right? And so, that one was probably on the higher end of things. I would tell you that was probably for no fatality. Yeah, that one's pretty high on the scale. Do they happen often? No, but even small ones, because of as dangerous as the business is.
Sure.
Even the reported ones,
small being relative, can be catastrophic.
The reported ones.
The reported ones.
Yeah,
right.
well,
allegedly
only happen is
Yeah.
very, very few and not very often.
Yeah.
The unreported ones, because I've been in a bunch of, and I know you have, Clay, and I'm speaking to the fucking choir with you, but for everybody else, I've been in a bunch of live fire. I've been in a bunch of nighttime live fire, daytime live fire, and I've almost been shot twice. Once in the daytime, once in the nighttime. I've seen crazy shit happen in nighttime live fires and nighttime operations, even in training, are very fucking dangerous.
Oh yeah.
We've had tracks drive off of cliffs. We've had, when you're using white hot or black hot, to type of
thermal sights.
thermal sights, to see when you're driving, and it's you can't tell depth. And I've seen people eat shit. I've seen
listen,
really
man,
bad things happen.
I'm a master rated parachutist. I jumped out of planes for 10 years. And listen, we would jump 1,000 guys at a time at 2:00 in the morning. Right. So you've got, 3 planes fly over, they dump 100 guys a piece. You got 300 people in the air at the same time at night in the dark with combat equipment. Like, it's dangerous. And then 2 minutes later, 300 more guys, And so, when you do those things, every time you do it, the potential for an accident goes up. And, eventually it happens, whether it's near you, around you, after you, before you. I experienced, like you said, Chuck, I've seen things in live fires. I've seen training accidents. I've seen fatalities. And then on top of it, add the fact that we went to war for, 20 years.
Look, you have 5 deployments under your belt. I mean, you've seen some shit.
Yeah. And I went early and I went kind of late. I mean, my first one was in 2002 in Afghanistan. And, we didn't, like, Iraq hadn't even started yet. And I was already home. Right. That's how early I went to Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
And, I didn't sleep in a building the entire time I was there. There was no infrastructure. Everything was tents, right? Wow. Everything was, austere. We had, I'm not kidding when I say this, for a good 2-month period, we had one internet connected laptop for an entire infantry battalion of 1,000 guys. One.
So let's talk about that real quick. That was probably around the time they made that movie with whatever his name is, Thor.
Helmsworth?
Hemsworth.
You're talking about
Warhorse? On the horseback. When they were on horseback.
Yeah, so you're talking about 12 Strong.
12 Strong. Thank you.
So it was around that time, right?
It was not long after that. So that was like November of 2001 or a little bit after, right? Those were the first guys post 9/11 that they flew over the mountains from the north and landed up north in Mazar-e Sharif. And then I was there the following, so like 8 months later, late June of 2002 is when I landed. So, for conventional forces, we were the second rotation. It's amazing the things that were such big news back then that kind of faded into the woodwork with all the years of combat. Operation Anaconda was this massive fight in the Shai-Kaut Valley, which they, the whole intent behind that was to go find bin Laden. And it was bad and it was nasty. But again, 20 years later, there's been so many big fights and all these other things. People don't even know those words, but, we replaced the 101st that went in before us. And I spent 6 months over there. I still went to places that had never seen Americans before. My radio operator was an African-American guy, and Afghan kids would come up and they'd want to touch his skin because they'd never seen anybody so dark before. Wow. It was just, it was, it was crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys were the first boots on the ground there, really. And
places,
they use you a lot for the intel and setting up a lot of the bases and stuff like that. And so you're basically there and you're doing missions and, whatever your missions are. Was it mainly for setting up the infrastructure to what was to come, or no? It was just kind of like happening.
That was all ancillary. Like we had to do that for our own survival. Like, there's a FOB in Eastern Afghanistan in the city of Khost that FOB Salerno that we put but while we lived there, they put the runway in, they put the helipads in. They, put the refueling point in, all of those things. That became, when we were there was, a battalion minus, there's like maybe 800 guys, maybe less than that. That became a whole brigade with like hard stand buildings. And,
right.
We didn't build that with the outlook of like, we're building this for guys in the future.
Sure.
We put up tents to sleep in, and then we ran air assault operations. We flew helicopters out of there. We did truck assaults. We, cleared the city. We did all of that stuff.
So you guys are doing
by the
double
way,
duty.
we were still building the base to live in at the same time.
Right. So you guys are doing double duty. Not only are you guys like setting up security, doing doing operations in order to advance the mission, but you guys are also like starting from zero. Like there's no beds, no cots, no. There's just a bunch of tents and and hope and prayer and some missions, and then you guys are building this from nothing.
Yep.
And not knowing how long this is going to take. Oh, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So
we were there
like
super early. Yeah.
Wow.
And that was probably because of intel or a chess move, knowing that 9/11 just happened, and there are people or actors from that region that are in the area, and you're going there to gather intel and do all these other things, while the rest of the invasion force has been in or is going to Iraq and doing all that, and then you're over here setting all this shit up and doing all this, gathering intel and doing all these types of things. And were you in the Rangers at that time?
Yeah, so I was 82nd, but I was a company commander, so I commanded a rifle company of about 150 dudes. And so we were, but we were doing all of those things. We were doing night air assault raids. We were supporting, U.S. and coalition special operations, in the earliest days. That's like my favorite, like stupid combat story. My very first operation, and I with all humility, I tell this.
Mike is yours.
So I got tasked, my rifle company, so my company headquarters, one of my rifle platoons, and then like a handful of other little bits and pieces. We had to go support a kill capture mission for a coalition soft special operations element, right?
Okay.
I won't say what country because it actually matters. But we were supposed to fly in. We flew with Special Operations Aviation, right? And so we were supposed to fly in. We set up the cordon, the perimeter, and then they bring in with subsequent helicopters right behind these special operators. They go kick some doors in. They kill or capture whoever it was that they were looking for. They exfil, and then we load and we exfil behind them. And it was supposed to be, in and out in, an hour or two. Very Black Hawk Downish kind of an operation, right? So we're flying. We get told, and again, this is super early, right? We get told that on the flight route, there is an old Soviet anti-aircraft gun system that they're mostly sure is out of commission, but no,
mostly sure.
No confirmation, right?
Love
great.
it.
So, okay, fine. So we're flying in these big Chinooks, special operations Chinooks, which are the big twin rotor helicopters, right? We're flying two of them, nose to tail. And I know that when we make this right-hand turn, we're over the top of like that gun system was like our marker to turn right. So we lift off out of Kandahar and we fly through this valley, and they test fire all the guns on the helicopters as we fly through this very narrow valley, right? And so we got miniguns going off in every direction. And what I didn't know was one of the miniguns in my helo didn't function right. So we get out, we get out of the valley, and the door gunner is like, he pulls it, and this is an electric gun system, right? This is not just like a belt-fed easy machine gun.
Right.
He disconnects all the electrical feeds and all the other stuff. He pulls it out. He takes the spare, because they carry a spare,
because that's what
mounts it, gets everything hooked back up, gets the ammo run back through it, and all that good stuff. But now we're out over Afghanistan. So he gets clearance to test fire on that Russian gun system when we make the right-hand turn. They just didn't tell anybody else in the helicopter. So we're flying at night, and the helicopter makes this right-hand bank, and I'm like, okay, here we go. We're less than 10 minutes out, and I'm crossing my fingers because I'm like, if that gun system lights up, we're all dead.
Right.
And then I hear the minigun go off, and I'm like, we're all gonna die. and then the helicopter, levels out, and we fly the last 10 minutes in, and we land. So we're 1 minute out. Everybody stands up, and we're waiting for the helo to land, and it lands, and the ramp's down, and me and one of my NCOs are the first two guys. We're running off the back of this ramp. We've got night vision on, and we're going to our positions, and we hit the ground, and it is flat fucking mud, and the two of us completely face plant, just right off the ramp. The two of us face down in the mud, covered. Everybody else sees us go down. They go around us. They know there's mud there, right? And there I am, the company commander, trying to pick myself up and wipe the shit off my face, and all that. So that was my very first combat action. Was I got a face full of mud coming off of the ramp of a helicopter, and that in my mind kept me very humble for a very, very long time.
That's awesome. Oh my God. I would love to hear the stories coming from those door gunners and be like, this fucking guy.
Yeah, right.
These grunts were in the back of our helicopter, and we didn't tell them that we were going to test fire onto this Russian gun system. And then they started pissing themselves.
Yeah.
And then they ate shit in mud.
Yeah.
You almost wish you could set it up for like anybody else who's coming into the unit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a rite of passage from that point on, that everyone who steps off has to eat shit into the mud. And like, oh, you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's amazing.
That's such a great story, man. This is like it's just one of those things that's like a very normal human thing that's happened. We've all fell in water. We've all fell in the rain and the mud. You know what I'm saying? That it's just like it really takes you out of that moment of everything else that's happening, and it really just makes it like an everyday funny situation that could have happened to everybody. So that's great, man.
Yeah, I mean that's funny. That's actually really funny. I'm sorry that happened to you, sir, but it's funny. Now the next two books, we were talking before the show, and you said that they have to do with urban environments and police and things like that. And I know you took a lot of for the first book, you took a lot of what you were when you were getting out of the military, and 80% of you went into that book. What the next two books, what was it just carrying on the story, and you're like, okay, yeah, 80% of that character is me, but the rest of the story is it's all fictional? Or was there anything taken from anything else, or how'd that come about?
So the characters are always built from people I know, either in part or in whole.
Sure.
Always. And so the second book, I'm a Chicago kid, born and raised, at least, Chicago area. I'm not a Chicagoan. You guys know how that works. But I was a wayward teen who used to go run around the city unsupervised. So I did spend a lot of time down there. Regardless, the second book takes place in Chicago, which is Terry Davis's, very much like me, his hometown. Right. And there are characters in Cross to Bear who are characters from my childhood, people that I know. Terry's best friend, Jimmy, is loosely based on my best friend, kind of in personality and in physical stature, and their relationship, is very much based on mine and his. There are scenes I actually did. It was kind of fun over the summer before the book came out. I went to some places in my hometown that inspired scenes in the book. So like there's an apartment where Terry Davis lives, which was inspired by an apartment building right up the street from where I grew up. There's a train station in the book that is a train station where I used to take the train into the city. There's all these bits and pieces from my childhood, my teen years, that are woven into the book itself. And then the culmination of the book happens downtown. And when I say downtown, like, the cover, you can see, this is Terry Davis geared up. He's got nods on. He's got his TAC helmet, rifle, body armor. And it happens downtown Chicago. You can see the skyline in the background. And I actually went and walked the terrain. I went and walked to where the big fight at the end of the book happens. So it is like true to form, exactly accurate all the way through. And then the last book takes place in Washington, D.C. and that surrounding area. And again, characters taken from my life, my military experience, people that I worked with over the years. But that one is there's much less direct connectivity to me, just because that's the way the story evolved.
Right. I mean, that's awesome. I was kind of wondering how it was going to go. I'm like, damn. I'm like, how? Because I know the first book, a lot of your military career, a lot of the building the character went into that. And I mean, I really appreciate it. And honestly, like you're talking, I'm like, you're the character, dude. Like a lot of the stuff you're talking about, I feel like I'm still in the book, and it's weird and it's hard to separate the two. And so I was curious to be what would the second book be, and Rebellis. How does that link into the next portion?
So I'll tell you, Chuck, you don't know what you don't know yet. And again, it's very like I have to be very careful of what I say because I never want to ruin it for people. And again, when people tell me I never saw the ending coming, I always think about that when I do these kinds of interviews because I never want to spoil that. But I will tell you, the only thing that separates book 1 to book 2 to book 3 is time. It is the same, main character. The characters build on the story builds on itself. There's about a 2-month or so gap between Keep Moving, Keep Shooting and Cross to Bear. Keep Moving, Keep Shooting is like late fall or like early fall, like late August-ish kind of time frame.
Yeah.
Cross to Bear picks up day after Thanksgiving. Right.
Oh, shit.
So it's like that close.
Very close.
And then Rebellis picks up the following spring after that. So like you're into the early April time frame. So there's only about 6 months or so between those two books. But it's a continuation of all the same story. It's all linked together.
So are you working on a 4th book now?
I am. Yep. And that one,
exciting.
That one is literally picking up from the very last page of Rebellis.
Now, you mentioned as far as like scene building and world building, as far as, being able to do this in your hometown. By the way, Chicago hometown, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart for Chicago dogs. I love those things. You have no idea. You can ask my wife about it. I have an addiction to them. You have no idea.
It's not healthy, man.
Hey, I'm not saying I have one every day. I'm just saying I love them. Will you have an opportunity where you seek this opportunity out again to where the story goes to kind of go scout out the areas as far as where it's going to go and kind of have the same feel, same situation as you did before?
Yeah, I do a combination of things. Like DC, I'd spent enough time. I was never stationed at the Pentagon, never wanted to be stationed at the Pentagon, but I spent enough time in and around DC where I kind of knew the areas. I'd been through the areas. Chicago was easy, but I do a lot of, as a lot of military guys do. I got pretty good at looking at satellite imagery. So I can go on Google Earth. I can look at places. I can understand what I'm looking at from top down. So I do when I can't be on the actual ground, I do satellite imagery recon so that I know what I'm looking at, make sure the streets are accurate, those kinds of things. So I do try and put as much realism into the book as I can in all of the books. And so when it comes to geography, if I can't be there myself, I definitely at least get on the computer, do some Google Earth recon, and play it that way.
That helps you kind of get in the mode. Kind of helps you get into
it gives me a great perspective. It gives me a great perspective of what's there, what's not there, and what you can and can't do, what the character's seeing, kind of gives him, especially Terry Davis, a focus on, what he's got to do next and those kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, and how many times in the service did you utilize satellite imagery?
All the time.
Field packages.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, fuck. I mean, you're right there. I mean, you work some pretty awesome units and Rangers and all that stuff. I mean, you guys were doing some awesome things. And for everybody listening, we've all heard of the Terminal List. We've all heard of the the Terminal List on Amazon Prime. This reminds me a lot of that and how it's kind of set up and how the nuances are in the very beginning. We all remember in the Terminal List, kind of how that kind of got set up and how he was kind of screwed over or how it was kind of a sabotage type of thing. It's very similar to the first book. And if you like that type of stuff, this shit's going to hook you very quickly. And I can only imagine what the next 2 books are going to be like.
Yeah, I've been told. I tell people Jack Ryan, Jack Reacher, Jason Bourne. If you're into that, like these books are in your wheelhouse.
Oh, perfect.
I've been told early Clancy reminds people of early Clancy.
Okay.
I have had Jack Carr, who's Terminalist.
100%.
I've had that comparison, which I'm appreciative of all of these. Believe me. I know my personal writing influence. If you've ever seen or ever read, there was a series of books by a guy named W.E.B. Griffin, and he wrote a bunch of series. But the one that I read was, the lieutenants, the captains, and it was all historical fiction. Mm-hmm. But he was a very detail-oriented writer, and I like Griffin's style a lot, and I would personally, say that's my greatest influence in how I write.
Okay. I mean, and it shows. I mean, because you're a really good storyteller. Man, I'm like, it is shit. It's really good. And I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll keep saying it. It's so good because, and I'm not just saying it because you're on our show. I'm saying it because I don't like to read books, and I like to read this book. So the first book is Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, a novel by Clay Novak. And this is it right here. If you're looking on the screen, this is what it looks like. This is at Clay Novak author.com and it's /titles. But if you go to www.claynovakauthor.com, you will be able to find all of this stuff, his books, his titles, all of it, nonprofit support, all of it. The Elsa Kurt show that features Clay on it. His blog, reader gallery, contact me, everything. If you have questions, you can go here and you can find all of it. So if you're watching, head over to our YouTube and watch it there. If you're not watching, but if you're watching, this is the first book, Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, and now by Clay Novak.
Look at how good looking that cover model is.
Yeah.
That's a sharp looking.
Is that you?
It is me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can tell.
The same hat too. I love it.
My dirty ass hat. Yeah.
It's great. And that what I'm telling you, I'm hearing you and picturing you with this smoking hot, I don't know why, brunette, like
so
chick.
I listen, Chuck. I play the who should play who in the movie. I love playing that game.
Yeah.
So I used to think it was Christina Hendricks. Like I thought she would be a great Peggy. But now after watching Ted Lasso, I think if you took Hannah, what's her name? Hannah Waddingham, and gave her some auburn hair and an American accent. That's Peggy.
You know what? That's spot on.
Yeah.
We obviously need a rugged man like you yourself. We don't need some pretty boy.
No.
Rugged, older man.
Yeah.
I'm not to say that this is you, but been through it, beat to shit, like you say in it.
I'm with you.
He is her younger. She's older, but looks younger than him. He looks older. He's in his mid 40s. She's in her mid 50s. She looks younger than him. It is just how it is. And I mean, you have that rugged look, but most of the men in law enforcement or military service, especially a career in it, we age faster. We get gray hairs faster. Yeah. We deal with stress differently. We're able to compartmentalize it. We're still processing it, and we're able to take in more stress, and we're able to show it differently. We're not freaking out because we're able to compartmentalize it and process it and move through it. Doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. We just know how to utilize it and to work with it. So yeah, I could definitely, dude. Wow. Now that you say that, I cannot get that out of my head. And now that I'm going to be reading, I'm going to be picturing you with her with auburn hair, with an American accent. This going to make this book so much better. And I already picturing you, and I was like, who would be her? Because it's like, when you're reading a book and you're picturing the body, but it's like the jailhouse artwork. And
there's no face.
There's no face. It's all blank. But you have the jailhouse artwork with the fucking banging body and all this other shit and the attributes, curves in the right places. That's taken from the book, by the way. And you get it, but you don't have a face. This puts a face to it. And then the second book is Cross to Bear, the Terry Davis series, book 2. Terry Davis is the main character, and this is what we were talking about earlier with the skyline of Chicago in the back. This is by Clay Novak. Terry Davis is the main character in in the first book with Peggy, so it all continues on. I can't wait for this because this has terminalist vibes. I know you said Reacher, and it does have that, but I'm leaning a lot more towards a hybrid between the terminalist and Reacher, but more towards the terminalist. So like 75%.
I'll take that.
Terminalist, 25% Reacher.
I'll take that.
Just because, and this is what I'm first getting. It might change as I get along and progress through the books. You've already written them. You know what's going to happen. I don't. And then the third, Rebellious, the Terry Davis series, book 3, which features, if you're not watching this, it features the Capitol steps with an army gentleman who I assume is you, dressed in camo, in their BDUs, with the same gun that is featured or talked about and described in book 1, which is the FNX
45
FNX 45, tactical. Wow, and it's amazing. It definitely gives terminalist vibes for sure. And you can click to buy it on Amazon. You can go to Amazon. You can buy it. Just type in Clay Novak books on Amazon, or you can go to claynovakauthor.com and you can get the books there, or you can be taken to the site to buy the books, but you can at least get the synopsis on all the books and you can go through it there. I mean, it's awesome. It's great. And if you're looking for books that really capture your attention, these are it.
And listen, Christmas is coming up. You can get all 3 in paperback for about $50. So if you've got one of those like Christmas lists, like, hey, we put a limit on it, $50, whatever, you can get book 1, 2, and 3 for about in paperback for about $50 for the 3 of them.
I'll just I put your Rebellious and Cross to Bear in my cart. Rebellious is $25 and Cross to Bear is $16.75. You can get it Prime today, and you can get it before.
I think you've got the hardcover for one and the soft cover for the other.
Oh, you're right. I do. Rebellious would be the hardcover for $25. I don't mind, but I put them in my cart. I will be buying these because
I appreciate that.
As I finish this, and plus I want to support you, man. Do I want to get them signed? Absolutely. So I might be sending them to you to grab them and get them signed once I receive them. Huh?
With pleasure.
Awesome. But I will be reading them first, and they will be going up on my wall. So as we get ready to close out this episode, I understand you do have a dedication, and so the floor is yours, my guy. What is your dedication?
Yeah, so my son goes to Western Illinois University, which is my alma mater. And I was never, when I was in college and I went through ROTC, my goal was to get out of college and get into uniform as fast as humanly possible.
Sure.
I didn't really care about the academics. I didn't really care about the school all that much. I really cared about ROTC, and I really cared about getting commissioned, right?
Sure.
My son now goes to Western Illinois University. And this past fall, when I moved him into the dorms, they, in a very well-organized fashion, they had kids there assigned to help, right? So we had this young man helping us out, and, I asked him what his activities were at school and just having a good conversation with the kid. And so he was in ROTC, but he was also in a fraternity, which I was never a Greek guy, but he was in a fraternity. I said, hey, one of your alumni, not just from Western Illinois ROTC, but from your fraternity, was killed in combat in 2010. And he said, I know. And he said, Rob Baldwin. And I said, yeah, Rob Baldwin. Rob Baldwin was a helicopter pilot. He was a friend of mine. Wow. And so the kind of the weird twist on all of this. So I was the aide de camp for 3-star General Rodriguez, who was running the ground war in Afghanistan in 2010. And there was a helo crash. And it was some Americans were killed. The crew was killed. Some special operators were killed. And then some Afghan special operators were killed. So we flew down to Kandahar to go to the memorial service, right? And so doing my duties, I get my boss down there, massive tent full of people. I get him in, I get him to his seat. I do all the things that I'm supposed to do as an aide. And I grab a copy of the program for the memorial service, and I go stand in the back of the room. So as this thing's starting, I look down and I'm thumbing through, and inside the pamphlet was this friend of mine from college. And that was when I found out that he was in the helo that crashed.
Oh, wow.
Felt very like it was that immediate like gut, sick to my stomach, wanted to throw up on myself, had all of the flashbacks from college in my head, like all the good time, go out. He was, Rob was a great guy, very, very smart rugby player, but like could drink with the best of them. Like he was just an all around solid guy, but smart enough that the Army made him a helicopter pilot. Right. I mean, he was a 5-tool player, really a great guy. Mm-hmm. But he passed away in that helicopter crash in 2010. The really bad part was he was a helo pilot, but he was observing. He wasn't even actually at the controls. He was a passenger in the Black Hawk, which it's awful. So for, friend, for fellow service member, for alumni of my university and my ROTC department, and a personal friend of mine, Rob Baldwin, who passed away in 2010 in Afghanistan in a helicopter crash, I would like to dedicate this to Lieutenant Colonel Rob Baldwin.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel, rest easy, brother. We have him here. That is so tragic, and fuck, man, that's horrible.
That's crazy.
That man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss, man. And I
so the good and not a lot of good comes out of those things. You guys know that. But the interesting thing I thought was that 15 years later, generations later, not only was the ROTC department, but also his fraternity recognized him every year in a Veterans Day ceremony.
Wow.
I didn't even have to say his name. That kid knew who he was.
That's great.
So that at least we, there's a little bit of comfort for all of us to know that there's good people still out there that are carrying forward the memories of good folks like Colonel Rob Baldwin.
Yeah. Gone, but never forgotten.
Correct.
Right? And that's amazing thing. Yeah. The truest way. That's amazing. And, we're going to keep doing these dedications until we have no dedications left. But unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to be a day. There are going to be good men and good women in the line of duty who pass away and who cash in that check for their life, that ultimate check that you sign when you join the service. And it's not something that we want to do. It's what we're prepared to do, but it's not something that we want. And it's not something that we like to talk about, but it is imperative that we honor their sacrifice and their commitment to our great country and keep pushing forward. And that sucks. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm so sorry that for all the people out there and his family, I'm sorry, that sucks. And we're going to keep going forward, and we're going to keep honoring those who have fallen. And as we get ready to close out this episode, I do want to say Clay will be joining us this Friday. The date will be, let me look at my calendar, because today's the 17th as we're recording this, and this is going to be way in the future.
It'll be the 19th, right?
It will be in the future. 19th. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, this episode might be released this Friday. So if this episode is released this Friday, oh my gosh, what is this? It will be the 19th of December. And if that's the case, hey, you guys are hearing it on time, not in the future. If you hear it in the future, it was on the 19th, and all the stuff that you heard us talking about, you're hearing it now. If not, we thank you and we appreciate you. And but join us the 19th of December, this Friday, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, for a live episode with the author Clay Novak of Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, and what was the other one?
Cross the Bear and Rebellus.
Cross the Bear and Rebellus. Yes. Rebellus. I remember the third one. I just couldn't think of the second one, but it's on your wall too. Keep Moving, Keep Shooting, Across the Bear and Rebellus. He's the author of it. He's going to join us this Friday. Please follow us and watch us this Friday. I have some stuff I need to read. So thank you all today for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on Instagram at war_stories_official and our Facebook at War Stories Podcast. All of that is changing. It will be Warlocker. You will be notified as soon as it happens. And honestly, if you follow us on Instagram, and our Facebook at those two handles. Instagram at war_stories_official and our Facebook at War Stories Podcast. When we change the name, you'll just see the name change, and then you already have it. So please follow us. And then if you're not following us and you're listening to this like months out, just look up Warlocker. It's the same stuff. It'll probably be at Warlocker, at Warlocker Live, the same stuff. You can check us out in the link on our bio on both platforms to catch all of our social media, our media links, and our website. Our podcast is available on all major streaming podcast platforms, including YouTube. Spreaker is our new streaming service. We're utilizing them. They're through iHeartRadio. They brought us on board. They're awesome. If you go over to Spreaker, you can, if you want to donate to the channel and you want to donate to anything or whatever, $2. You can go over there. You can donate. It's great. It's awesome. You just click it. Super simple. And our brother Matt, you need to go over to his GoFundMe. Go find it on our main page on our Facebook or War Stories. If you follow our personal accounts, please go to there and you can click the link there. The GoFundMe is there. He's dealing with a stroke, and if you've been following us, you already understand all of that. Anything helps to help him. So I figured I'd just put that in this broadcast. Please, if you could donate, that would be awesome. Those medical funds are ridiculous. And if you'd like to support us, head over to our website, which will be changing, but if it's still available, it's www.warstoriesofficial.com. You can grab some merch. And you know what, Clay? I don't know if we ever gave you a Whoopee hoodie, but we're discontinuing.
Oh yeah, I love it. Wear it all the time.
Oh fuck! You already have you. Hey, you already have one. You don't get another. But if you want one, go over there. We have, while supplies last, we still have the Whoopee hoodies.
They're awesome.
Will there be another one? They are fucking.
They're
great.
awesome.
If you want one, you need to buy it now, because I don't know if we're going to be going out and doing another one. We will be doing some drop shipping later. But I don't know what company we're going to go with or what drop shipper we're going to go with. That is yet to be discussed. So if you want one now is the time. We'll cut you a deal on it. Go over to our website, www.warstoriesofficial.com, grab some merch. Do you have a story to tell, or you know someone who does? We're always looking for law enforcement, veterans, corrections officers, dispatchers, firefighters, medics, ER docs, and ER nurses to feature on the show. If you're interested, email us. No, don't email us. Go to linkedin.com /War Stories Podcast. Share your story. You can also message us on both platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and send us your stuff. We'd love to have you on. You can also head over to our TikTok at www.tiktok.com, War Stories Locker Room, which will be changing. And if it has, I don't know, Dylan, if it has changed, let me know. But if it hasn't, please go there. If it has, look up Warlocker, and we'll go there. We're still working this out. Bear with us. We have to rewrite everything. All the scripts are changing, so we're trying to shift, move, and communicate on the go. Thank you for the support. Stay safe, and until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it.